I got carried away with my upgrades and now my Santa Cruz Bronson is too heavy. So let's lighten this thing up and put the finishing touches to complete this build once and for all. So my Bronson has a bit of an identity crisis. It's marketed as all mountain, so is it a trail bike or is it an enduro bike? Santa Cruz did a great job with this bike, and I think the bike can be both trail or enduro. It just really comes down to how you have it set up. And that's just what I've done. I started with a base model Bronson 5R, and I've pretty much upgraded every single part and made it way better than the top spec model that they offer. But in the process, I added several pounds. Then I took it to ride some enduro, and it did fantastic, especially with the new coil shock. But for local winter riding, I want a trail bike setup. I want something that's light and snappy, but also a single track destroyer. Just something to find all the side hits, get sketchy, and have fun long days on the bike. So the goal today is to lighten this bike by let's say a pound. That's a pretty good goal. Also, I want to add some gold accents, plus replace some things that maybe aren't necessary. So let's get started. I'm starting by removing the O-chain. This helps with the chainless ride feeling associated with pedal kickback, but we'll see if I notice a difference with it off. Then one of the biggest areas to save weight on a bike is the cranks, especially with the OEM cranks on a cheaper build. I'm replacing them with my SRAM X01 carbon cranks off my hardtail that I don't really ride too often anymore. All right, we'll see if my theory is correct. These are the stock cranks. They're Truvativ Descendant cranks. They're pretty good cranks, but they feel pretty heavy. 562 grams cranks only, then add an extra 220 grams for the O-chain and chainring. Then the carbon cranks with chainring, 468 grams. Man, that's huge. Remember, there's 454 grams in a pound, and I'm saving 320 grams with just these carbon cranks. So new goal, we're going 2 pounds lighter with this episode. Man, I'm going full on weight weenie here. With the O-chain coming off, that had a 36 tooth chainring on, a pretty tall gear for a trail bike. So going down to a 32 tooth, I have to shorten the chain. I wanted to use a SRAM chain instead of the KMC because I heard that they're better, but the ones that I have on hand are too short, but maybe I'll order a black one in the future. I'm not really sold on this gold chain. In the last video with this bike, I showed that this $5,000 Santa Cruz came with an unsealed headset and the lower bearing was totally busted and I had to replace it. But I thought, man, this bike is so great, it deserves only the best. A Chris King headset. Dang, man, that's how you know things are getting serious over here. And I could have bought a gold Chris King headset. I mean, they make that. But I think that the gold color touching the frame color is also a no-no. So a modest black with a gold Chris King logos is what I went with. And man, this is gonna be sick.
Access granted.
If you grew up in the bike world like me, having a Chris King headset is the ultimate status symbol, even if it's just some letters on a dumb bearing. I'm not sure how popular they are today, but installing this would make 12-year-old me so pumped. Another area for improvement for weight and quality of life is the dropper. I have to run this 150 millimeter travel dropper this high, and I'd love to be able to slam it. Plus, I just happen to have a 1UP V3 dropper, 180 millimeter travel. These are ultra light and a low stack height. The only issue is that this is a 30.9 and the stock dropper is a 31.6. So I'm gonna have to shim that. But hey, a 30.9 dropper just means more weight savings. I fought with this dropper for a while, but this is as low as the dropper would go in the frame. The seat does go lower slightly, but I'm just gonna run it. These droppers are awesome. I'm also gonna swap out the rotors. Channel member Josiah sent me these premium TRP rotors that I could not find anywhere when I ordered my brakes. I'm not sure if these will add performance, but they are about 50 grams lighter for the set. I also bought Wolf Tooth lock rings that were cheaper than the TRP lock rings, and I used my LOSCO coupon code for an extra discount, link in the description. Well, this is coming along pretty nicely, but this final upgrade, I'm not too sure about. Tan wall tires. Don't get me wrong, these Pirelli Scorpions are awesome. They're really good grip. I like them a lot, and I'm not sponsored or anything, but man, they are beefy boy tires. This rear tire weighs 1,300 grams. So I went looking for something a little bit lighter, but not too light because I still want to smash through rock gardens. That's when I found these Schwalbe Hansdampf Super Trail weighing 1,000 grams a piece. And the sidewall feels good, that's why I want them. They're still pretty stiff, but yeah, 1,000 grams is pretty good. I don't really know anything about these tires. I've heard they're good, but I really just bought them because they're advertised as bronze sidewall. And I thought it was gonna be closer to the color of my frame, but dude, in person, this looks nothing like the picture. So I'm a little disappointed there, but let's get them installed and then you can tell me if I should keep them on or not. While I have the Pirellis off, new tubeless valves. Not sponsored, but I've reached out to Wolf Tooth before. They make good products. Then these decals stick out like a sore thumb. So I had some custom ones made up to match the Kashima on the forks, but they turned out kind of dark, kind of greenish, but that's the downside with gold accents. It's really hard to match gold parts. I also didn't know that these Hansdampf tires were bi-directional, at least that's what the internet says, but if that's the case, what side does the red line on the tire go? With that, the bike is finally complete, and I was thinking, what even is there left from the stock bike? And all I could think of was the seat post clamp and the bottom bracket. Everything else has been changed out. But now I'm just gonna get it shined up, I'm gonna weigh it, and then I'll tally up how much I've spent on this whole build, and I'll reveal all that on the trail. Well, there you have it, my finished Bronson, and I think it turned out way better than the top spec Bronson that they sell. And obviously, I went a little wild with this one, but the total cost that you saw there was would be like if you bought everything brand new from the LOSCO using my discount code. And I already had a lot of parts on hand, so I didn't spend that much. All right, don't kill me. Plus, the stock parts that are coming off this bike are gonna go towards building up a spare frame to sell and recoup some of the costs. But this was definitely a no regrets dream build. And I'm still a little bit iffy on the tan walls. I don't know how I feel about them. Let me know your opinion about them or the entire build in the comments. But no writing in this video. I got a long list of reasons why, but final thoughts on this Bronson build. And it's an amazing bike. It's my favorite bike that I've ever ridden to date. And the only gripes that I have with it are cleaning. Near the rear shock area is really tight and it's really hard to get in there and clean it. The clear coat is also super delicate and scuffs very easily. Plus it chips pretty easily too. And I wish I would have installed a ride wrap on it from the start. But that's really only my complaints. I love this bike. So thank you so much for coming along with me on this build. As for what's next on the channel, well, I got a few builds planned out that I'm pretty excited for. And if you have any ideas of builds that you want to see in the future, let me know in the comments. But let me show you a preview on the next build coming up.